Hi, this is Kim White with the My Sexy Business team. I'm here with my co-host,
Coni Meyers with Kick Butt Leadership.
We are at the Hope to Hope Conference, day 4. I cannot believe it's day 4. And wow.
Yeah. Wow.
We don't know what else to say.
We say this every time. Wow. And wow doesn't seem to be big enough.
No, I think that's one of the hardest things is I say I'm excited on every one of the speakers because I really am. Like, people say, why do you use that word so much? Well, because you have to look at who we have on. They're amazing. So our next guest is no less amazing. She is absolutely phenomenal. And I just want to give a little quick backstory. We actually met in a group we were in, and she has like a brilliant live video, series on Facebook about health bites. That's what she calls it. And it is something that she stole my heart because she understands I'm busy and she understands that I want to be healthy, but I don't have a lot of time to figure all that stuff out. So she has these little quick things that I can do. And I love her. She's beautiful inside and out, and she's incredible. And so I want you to welcome Samantha McConnell to the Hope to Hope Conference.
Oh, so sweet. I don't want to start this crying.
Well, no, our mascara will run. We can't cry.
Well, I'm already a hot mess here in San Diego. It's pretty warm, so if it's running, it's from sweat, not tears, maybe.
Well, I'm a hot mess, and it's hot here in Texas, but I could be crying or not. I mean, it's
it's all good.
Well, you really are on a big mission. And when I heard you say it, I thought, wow, because you are not playing around. You really are on a mission to make the entire world healthy. That's your vision, is to make everyone be able to enjoy health.
Well, and what I want is it to be fun. I don't want it to be a struggle because I've been on every diet there is, all these crazy workout programs, and they didn't work. Not only that, they make you unhealthy, instead of getting you healthier. And I'll tell my backstory in a minute, but when I went to health coaching school, what really saddened me was our children. They're now saying that our children, it makes me tear up, they may not outlive us because of the epidemic of obesity and the sugar and the processed food that these children are consuming. And I knew it was a problem. I mean, I saw it around me. And I just went to Disneyland recently, and I used to go as a child with my parents, and you never saw extremely overweight people. And now it's just, and children. And it just breaks my heart. And my mission is if I can help one person at a time with my health bites, because I want people to be able to implement things during their day. So maybe they ate too much. Maybe they had pizza last night or whatever. The next day, maybe you can crowd that out. You can have maybe more of a plant-based meal, maybe 1 or 2, have more water, grab an apple instead of a cookie. I'm all about crowding things out. As Dr. Amen says, why don't you love food that loves you back? So ask yourself when you're grabbing that gallon of ice cream, is this going to love me back? Maybe I could just have half a cup and satisfy myself and drink some water before. So it's little tricks because unfortunately too, the food, because it's processed, it's not that you wouldn't eat a whole pound of broccoli, but the cake has all these chemicals that do hijack your brain and it makes you want to eat more. And I can go on and on about that. So my goal is just to kind of help navigate you through that. So that's the 80-20 rule. You can cheat, you can have what you like. But the trick is to stay away from the processed foods because they really are your enemy and they don't love you back. So that's my goal.
I love love food that loves you back. I love that. That's a great thing to remember.
And it's not just food. It's being a health coach, it's not just food. It's about your whole life. Because, if you're happy and you feel loved, you're not going to come home and eat a whole package of Oreos. So if there's other areas in your life, I think we talked about you binge, that's like a Band-Aid when your soul is starving. So when you go and binge or you're eating a lot of food, that's just putting a Band-Aid on something else. It's not that you're hungry for food, you're hungry for something else. And so that's what I love about health coaching, is leading people to find out what that is and crowd out that stuff. Maybe you're crowding out a bad relationship, or you're crowding out some bad habits at night so you're not getting enough sleep because you're on your devices or social media too long. So it kind of it crosses a lot of things. It's not just food.
Well, and you bring up a really good point about, crowding it out instead of letting things sneak up on you, because that's actually, we ended up having pizza last night, and that was why, is because like we had tried to prepare, but we just didn't prepare enough. And when you're exhausted, and we were live for like 11 hours yesterday. Well, we've been live 11 hours the last 3 days.
But it's okay. You can have pizza. Like I said, it's the 80-20. And I think, too, when you eat your pizza, enjoy it. I was at Disneyland the other day with my daughter for 2 days. We came home back to the hotel. We were exhausted. We'd been going since 6 a.m. I wanted peanut M&Ms. Now, I could have brought some organic chocolate-covered almonds, but I didn't. So we get back to the hotel, and the gift shop said close for 20 minutes. I'm like, oh, no. And we took a picture. We could see the peanut M&Ms inside. So we waited, and we got them, and we sat together and just enjoyed them. It was just a small package. But that's much better than going out and buying a big package and eating too much. So another tip is to slow down and savor that piece of chocolate or that pizza. Just give yourself permission to enjoy it and not get mad at yourself. And then the next day, try to eat a little bit healthier, because I think we are our worst enemy. And then when you just keep putting yourself down, then you go to the refrigerator or to get some cookies or whatever, And what I love to do too, there's days I want something I shouldn't, like fast food. I stay away from fast food because they really do have triggers to make you want to eat more. I don't remember what it was I was craving. I knew I shouldn't eat it. So I went to a local organic restaurant and I ordered something that was really healthy, satisfying. And I thought, if I just would have thought of that in the beginning, and I warded off going to the fast food. Mm-hmm. So it's just little tricks like that. It's because I say this all the time. God wants us to eat. He made food for us to eat. Food that grows as plants, not made in a plant. That's the important key. I always say, look at labels. If there's more than 5 ingredients and you can't pronounce them, red flag, put it back on the shelf. But when you think about whether you eat meat or you don't, but God provided us all the food we need. And I think as women, we are created to love food and to celebrate with food and to provide food. So when you're depriving yourself and trying to keep yourself from eating it, like I did growing up, every event was just such a struggle for me. I didn't like going to parties. And I first got married, I didn't want to go to my husband's parents. They had fondue at Christmas, and I was worrying about counting calories. I was going to gain a pound. That's not enjoying life. So it's taken me many, many years. But the key, I always say, is if you have a few pounds to lose, so what? Be healthy. Because if you're eating healthy, clean food, it's going to affect how you think. It's going to affect how you sleep. It's going to affect your energy, how you love others, and how you respond to others, and also how you're going to serve. How are you going to serve other people if you're not taking care of yourself and you're not loving yourself? So not only do you want to eat food that loves you, you got to love yourself so that you take care of yourself. And I say this, some people get mad at me, but I say, stop being selfish. You need to take care of yourself so you can love those around you that love you, because you want to be around.
That's so important.
Super
important.
important.
How did you come up with all this great wisdom? How did you get that?
Well, when I was growing up, unfortunately, my parents became very ill. We used to go to Disneyland. That's why I'm crazy about Disneyland, because of those memories. I was about 8. My mom started having some problems walking. They weren't sure what it was. And about that same time, my dad got diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. His mother had had it pretty severely. But he still worked. But my mom was losing the ability to walk. And she was having some problems. She was president of a women's club, very active in the community. And all of a sudden, everything stopped. People didn't come over. We didn't go out. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. And then they figured out that she probably had multiple sclerosis. They weren't sure, because back then they didn't have the sophisticated, techniques now that they can find it with all the tests. So she kept getting worse. And then I don't know what inspired her, but she started watching an exercise show on TV. So she started exercising and she started getting better. And I was 8 years old and I'm watching this. And she started driving again. And I thought, wow. And it really showed me the importance of exercise. I was just blown away. And so she was better for a couple of years. And then unfortunately, she got in a car accident. Now, that may have been because she did have MS. We don't know, but it shattered her kneecap. And from then on, she just gave up. And she never got better. And she eventually passed away of other complications. My father took care of my mom and myself. And he was getting worse. And I was scared to death. You know, here I'm this kid, I'm only child, no relatives nearby, didn't know what was going on. So when we got in that car accident, I was 14. So that summer, I decided to go on a diet. I wasn't overweight, but every teenager thinks they have a few pounds. My mom had a magazine, and I didn't really eat that healthy because my dad was, you know, making my meals. It was a lot of carbohydrates and that kind of stuff. So I followed this diet. It was very simple. It was a good diet. It was just a normal breakfast, protein, vegetables, all that. So I lost about 10 pounds, probably too much. And this is when everyone wanted to be super, super skinny. So I went back to school and I thought I looked so good, but I was afraid of gaining the weight back. So that fear got in the way of my eating healthy over the summer. And I started starving myself. And I was a high achiever. I was working really hard in school to get good grades. I was in 9th grade. So that fear led me to be anorexic. I got so skinny. And my parents were worried, and I went to the doctor. And I remember him telling me to go to Jack in the Box, of all places, and get a shake and eat French fries. And I was also going to the library and studying about health because I was worried about my mom and my dad, and I was worried about myself. And I started eating broccoli, and I was eating healthy, but I wasn't eating enough. And my weight now is 110. I got to almost 85 pounds. I got a hippo scale for Christmas, and I was so excited. Crazy, isn't it? So actually, excuse me?
How tall are you?
I'm almost 5'4". So I was pretty thin. So that anorexia, though, later led to bulimia because you can't starve yourself for that long. You know, you start to get really, really hungry. So then I went the other way, and then I started gaining weight. And it was a yo-yo thing, and it was a secret. Nobody knew but my best friend. I thought I was the only one in the world that did this crazy stuff. And then my dad found out, and he was so angry at me. He thought that I could just stop. He didn't understand it. So I battled with that for years and years and years. College, then I met my husband. It wasn't as bad, but it was still there. And when I told him, he too thought I could just quit. By then I was 30. We got married. And he said, you know, if you can't stop this, I'm going to leave you. And I thought, oh. So I got all scared, and I went to I looked in the yellow pages before the internet. And we were in Seattle then. We had just moved from San Diego to Seattle. He'd gotten a job there. He was an engineer. And that was another thing. I was depressed. It was raining. I didn't have any friends or family. So I found this eating group, and I'd never heard of it. It was at a hospital for free. And they base it like the AA. You get that 12-step book. But what blew me away, I was 30 years old. I went in this room, and I thought I was going to be the only one. There were like 40 women, and most of them were older than me. And some of them were executives at Boeing. And to hear, one was a grandmother, and they'd been doing this for years. I was not the only one. And then, of course, years later now, it's become well-known and prevalent. But what really got me, I didn't end up staying with that because I didn't want to be out there and people knowing about it. So what started my journey on getting better is when I started eating healthy. I had 3 miscarriages. I had been eating healthier then and mostly depriving myself in willpower to not do any of that crazy stuff. And then when I got pregnant the 4th time with my son, I said, okay, this is it. So I researched and I started substituting, really crowding out without realizing healthier food and healthier alternatives. And of course, being pregnant, I was not going to do any of that silly stuff anyway. So I had my son, which was a miracle after losing 3. And then I got pregnant again. And then I had Sammy, she's about 7.5, 8 years older than her brother and sister. But through that whole period, of course, having children, you want them to eat well. It was kind of trial and error, but I was basically learning on the go. I wanted to work out because I always had worked out. I met my husband at a health club. But with kids, you can't. You have no time. So we had weights in the basement. So I would run down with the laundry. I'd do some sets, go back, then I'd go down again. And so that was kind of my day. I would, throughout the day, I have weights even now. They're under my armoire. If I'm waiting for something, I'll do a couple sets. And so I taught people to do that. Like walking. I talk about that in my videos. I said, if you can't walk for 30 minutes, when you're in the office, get up, get a coworker, walk for 5-10 minutes break, maybe at your lunch, take your lunch with you. You add that up, that's 25-30 minutes a day. So it became a habit of mine. How do I fit healthy habits in on the go? And that's kind of where I'm at today. And now I just love sharing that. And when I went to the health coaching school, I thought, wow, I'm not the weirdo, because my husband's family, my friends all thought I was kind of this health nut. And to be in this class of over, I think we're close to 2,000 people around the world for a year, and we all think the same way. And Jason Rosenthal, the director of the school, it was like we were talking the same language. And I just fell in love with it. Never thought I'd end up doing this as a career, because I was a real estate broker, kind of inactive while I had the kids, and I was going to go back to that. Still active in Seattle. And I may do both, because real estate agents, they also steal my heart because they're so busy and they tend to be really unhealthy. So that might be another niche of mine to explore. But I just love the idea that I can help people every day do something healthy, so they don't go, oh, I failed. Forget it. I give up. You know, and not with me. You don't give up, because you've got a chance right now. Drink another glass of water, grab a piece of fruit, maybe have a raw meal once a day or once a week. You know, I like to challenge in easy ways. So that's kind of how this all came about.
Well,
and
I will say this about you, because I want everyone watching to know this. You are like beautiful and could be on the cover of any magazine. You are so gorgeous. But you do not pass judgment. You are one of the least judgmental people I know about like weight, and you have really taken to heart to really help, instead of, you know, being harsh or being unkind, because that also happens. You know, when someone overcomes something, sometimes they can turn into a not very nice person trying to make everyone else do what they're doing. And I love your attitude, because it's like, you don't have to do exactly what I'm doing, but here's some choices. Here's some things that you can do. And I love your concept of crowding out. Like, I would love for you to talk a little bit more about just that principle, because that principle to me is super sexy, because I am busy. I do want to be healthy. And of course I do want to lose weight, but again, my goal is not the weight loss as much as it is the health. I want to stay healthy.
Well, the crowding out, what I love about it is you're not on a diet. So, and a lot of it is being proactive. Because, for example, that day I was really hungry. I'd missed breakfast. It was like 1 o'clock, which I know better than that. Running around, I thought, French fries. And the funny part is I don't usually like that kind of food, but it's because my window of not eating was pretty long. And so I was craving the bad stuff. And then as soon as I had this sweet potato bowl, and it had black beans and a cashew spread, and salsa. I mean, that's so satisfying. Cost the same amount of money, and it was healthy. And I'm not feeling bad about myself. So I kind of crowded out that craving with a healthier choice. So I still treated myself and went out, which I normally don't, but because I was out on the go, I thought, okay, if I'm going to spend the money, I might as well get something that's good for me, that loves me back, for example. But being proactive, like, especially when the kids were running around when they were younger, I would always have snacks in the car. I still do. I have a cooler. I might have carrot sticks. I love to have almonds and cashews on hand. I like to put salads in a jar. I make them up, like maybe 5 to 6 of those, usually plant-based. And if I'm going to add chicken later, because that won't last as long, and they're in my cooler, and I'll have a salad dressing, a big jar of salad dressing that I just put in little small jars in the carrier. So it's about being proactive ahead of time. Like when we go to Disneyland, I've done live videos. I didn't this time on how to eat healthy at Disneyland, and they let you bring your food in. So I will put a BPA-free bag with a little little ice. What do you call them? Those little ice packs. And I will wait till everyone wants to have lunch. I'll get a plate from the restaurant and their silverware. I have my avocado, my salads, usually bean-based because I don't want to bring meat. It's hot. And I've had pictures of this beautiful salad that I brought home from my home that at Disneyland, you know, a meal at Disneyland can be anywhere $15 to $20, and it's not necessarily healthy. So those are just little tricks that you can bring with you. So when you are hungry, you've got your cooler in your car, you've got all your stuff that you need to eat, and you're not tempted to go out and eat all the bad stuff. Or know where there's healthy restaurants where you can grab a side or a meal and have that if you know ahead of time. So
you're talking a lot about planning things, and I think that's one of the things that I've learned, of course, the hard way. But I think that planning is what makes me do well, and lack of planning is what makes me end up somewhere with French fries.
yes, exactly.
I think that that's really the thing, because you're right. You can eat for the same cost. You can eat for the same effort. But it took me a while to figure out, and this is one of my favorite examples of this, is it's just as quick or just as much effort if I want to go buy a candy bar as it is to go buy an apple or a banana or a mango or whatever. And that's an excuse we use.
Yep.
That it's quick.
It
and the truth is it's just as quick to do the other. And I have found that my husband and I both, our taste buds are still changing, but
yes.
they have changed a lot to where some of the more plant-based we've eaten, the more the things that were our favorites. And I'm talking, we were thinking, we're going to die if we don't have these favorite things. Now they're like, that didn't taste as good as I remembered. That's
the beauty of starting to eat clean, because your body, you don't need to go on a diet. If you start eating plant-based, and you can eat meat too. I'm not against people eating meat. But if you're eating clean, meaning no process, even when you're making it at home, you're using your own spices, you're not having MSG and all that stuff in it, which a lot of times you don't even know it's MSG. It'll say natural flavors. And that is really a term that could be 100 different things that you don't know what are in it. So that's why I like to make all my own things, even my salad dressing, so I know. Your taste buds will change, and that carrot will be delicious. It isn't when you're used to the hijacked food, because they've got all the salt and the sugar, and they have chemicals that purposely do that, so you want to keep eating it and be addicted to it. They say sugar's like crack, and I believe it. And the more cleaner you eat, the brain fog goes away, the weight starts coming off, and you're not even, all of a sudden you'll put a pair of pants on, you're like, wait a minute, because you're still eating. You're feeding yourself with healthy food that's going to fuel you, and you'll sleep better, you'll have better energy. The hard part is getting people convinced to start doing it. So that's why I like to just slowly have it trickle in, because to just say, go cold turkey, that's not going to work. They'll say, quit coffee, quit this, quit that. My husband and I did a reset program just for fun, 2 years ago at the first of the year. And it was very strict, no blueberries, because they wanted to find out if your body had, reactions to some of this stuff. But it was no coffee, no caffeine, none of that. Of course, no alcohol. And we were walking around like zombies for 2 weeks. And no kidding, my husband's never been in an accident. He got in an accident, and I hit a pole at my daughter's school. And I said, okay, that's it. I'm never going to have anybody go cold turkey, because that's just too extreme. I know, unless a doctor says for health reasons.
Right.
That's just, literally we were walking zombies. So I don't recommend that for anyone.
Well, I like the concept of crowding out, though. I like the idea of not, not taking away, but adding. When you have those things added in there, you don't have enough room to fit those other things in. I love that idea.
Or you won't miss them. I'll make I like to duplicate or make a mock whatever that is. Like pizza, for example. I did a live video where the crust is actually chicken, shredded chicken, or you can do ground chicken. And you're eating pizza and you feel guilty, but it's not, it's all protein. So I like to hijack that. I like to, maybe have, I don't know, something that's usually not very healthy. Like spaghetti, and I use zoodles. When you have the zoodles on the plate, now I've told people about this and go, no, I like my pasta, and I do too. But if you have the zoodles on the plate with the marinara sauce and the meatballs and the cheese, you're going to eat that. And it's delicious. But you got to have it there in front of them.
I used to make a lot of my own pasta out of vegetables, and I love doing that. What I wanted to say is, because I think I love to cook, and I cook, for the most part, my diet is very healthy. But a lot of people don't know how to cook or don't like to cook. And I like your idea of keeping it really simple and making it so that people, like I usually make my own salad dressings, and most people think you made that like it's something difficult to do, and it takes 5 minutes to do it. But people are afraid that they can't cook or they don't want to cook. How do you help them overcome that it doesn't take a lot of time? It doesn't require a lot of experience.
Well, in my lives, I love to do that. In this course that we were in with Tiffany, she kept saying, make your videos longer. And I didn't want to, because the whole idea is I wanted to make them short so that people would stop and watch it. So I like to have all my ingredients there. I usually already have it prepared, and then I will show it as I'm making it. But salad dressings I was guilty, even eating all organic. I always bought organic salad dressings because I thought I was too busy to make it. And then when I got into the ingredients and I realized even the organic brands have some not so good ingredients, I started looking into making my own, and it's super easy. So I love going live and showing people, because visually, and I usually say it, I preface it, if your kids can do this, you can do this, and I want it where they can bring their kids in and the whole family. So everyone's preparing, and it's fun. And then you're more apt to be more, you've got a little courage now to try something else. Like now I'm making my own taco spice, and I'm making my own Italian spice. It's easy. It's just Google it, but most people don't do that. So I like to show it live.
You are very good, though, and I'm going to brag on you about this, because you have been getting even better and better at, I love whenever you come on, you have this big bowl of pretty, colorful, good, healthy food, or you have your setup of what you're going to make, and it's attractive. That's another thing for me is I had to get past in my mind that, I can have all these exciting foods, or I can eat healthy. And it's really not that. It's really the opposite of that. But it's funny because even just, I guess, subliminally, you putting that stuff on there makes me more attracted to watch. And because they are short, I can watch. That's another thing that I think you are onto something huge, because it doesn't matter if you own a business, you work at a job, you have kids and stay at home, whatever your lifestyle, we don't ever have enough time.
No.
That's the thing we're trying to multiply. And you actually have a lot of great, quick things. You did some stuff for the 4th of July.
That was fun.
I'm so excited about, though, because, quick. It didn't have to be something, because I want to be with my family. I don't want to spend all my time, and I love to cook, but the problem with cooking, maybe in the normal way, is you're talking at least an hour of, prep and then cook and then clean up and and then that's at least an hour process. And I want to be with my family during that hour. So a lot of the stuff that you show takes 5 minutes. I mean,
and that's my goal when I look at recipes, because I'm in the process of writing a cookbook on the go. If I have to scroll down and there's all these ingredients and all these directions, I'm done. It's done. And what I do usually is I'll take recipes and I'll simplify them. So I'll take, from different ones, and the more simpler, the better. And I'm getting into using the Instapot. It's kind of funny. My husband gave it to me 2 years ago, and I didn't want anything to do with it. The crock pot, yes, but I guess it's because it's a pressure cooker, and now I've been using it, and that's a whole game changer, because that's 15, 20 minutes, you've got this incredible meal. And we're really fond of mason jars, and we have a refrigerator downstairs, and my husband just grabs them for lunch. And so he eats a healthy lunch, because before he was going out to Wendy's and stuff like that all the time. And that adds up too. It's like $7, $8 every day of unhealthy food, So now I always like to make usually that's my trick too, is if you're going to cook something, why not cook enough for a week or 2 weeks and stick it in the freezer?
I totally agree with that. That's my philosophy. People, I pretty much, I live by I have people that stay with me, but I pretty much live by myself, and I'll cook a huge meal, and they're like, what are you going to do with all that food? And I go, it goes in the freezer. I'm going to eat on it all week, or
Yeah.
I don't want to cook every day. I want to cook and
No.
have it. I can just grab it.
So yeah, if you're going to take the time to cook, why not make more? And then you can enjoy that when you come home and you want to be with your family. Just grab it and warm it up, or if it's a salad or whatever, and you make enough of it that it's going to last a couple days. Then you come home and it's already ready. That it's like, I don't know. I feel like when I come home, it's like mom made dinner for me because it's already there. You know, it's kind of like a little. I love that.
Have you already done the salads in the jar, like on your Health Bites? Because if you have, I have to go back and find them because I really do want to do that.
Well, you know, I might just do that for you because it's been a while. Those are way back. So, and I do repurpose some stuff. So yeah, I'd be glad to do that. Maybe I'll include that next week because they're really fun and they're pretty. And, you know, when you're talking about food being exciting or healthy, like people think that, I used to think the same way. I think what's really and you talk about cooking, I hated being in the kitchen. My mom used to teach cooking. I did not like it. I just thought it was, you know, I just go in there because I had to do it, even with the kids. Even when I was starting this journey, I didn't like it. But when I could start creating delicious meals that really were good and they were so pretty, you know, and I call them masterpieces, you know, like art, like you're creating a masterpiece. And that's what's fun about getting the family or your guests involved. For example, if you're making a Buddha bowl, I'm going to do a Buddha bowl series too. And you have all of the ingredients out for people to make their own. And everyone's like showing off and they take pictures of whose looks the best, you know. That makes everyone, you know, involved in it. You're not in the kitchen slaving over it and making it. And then everybody helps with cleanup because they all help make it. And because food is all about being social too and being
Absolutely.
Together.
Absolutely.
And I so want people to come over and be social and eat healthy. So they don't have a choice at my house. And they usually come over and they eat it because at first people were a little, but now that I've been experimenting and, you know, having more different kinds of foods, people are my kids, what's for dinner? Can we come over? What's for dinner? So I love doing that. And I love getting them involved, like the zoodles. They all want to crank the the spiralizer to make the zoodles. That's always a lot of fun. But again, I think not being afraid to go in the kitchen, start out really simple. I mean, I think I have one live for kids, the snacks is just putting peanut butter on apples. I mean, come on, we can all do that. And then you're teaching your kids healthy habits from the beginning. So they're not grabbing the donuts and they're not, because if you can start young and keep their taste buds clean and pure, they won't want that stuff. And my youngest, I struggle. She likes the sugar and it's been a challenge. But
well, my youngest is 28. And so when you do those kids ones, I always laugh because you're doing it for a kindergarten princess also. Because that is even a good reminder. Like I know to eat peanut butter with apples, but sometimes I forget those simple things. Yeah. And I love it.
And they're great snacks. They're really healthy and satisfying, but we just don't think about it. We grab what's handy.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what I like to do is remind you.
You have been a great reminder and you have been a great influence on me. And I will say this, I am 37 days without pop, and I believe I'm a pop addict. Like I think it's hardcore because that is one thing I can have a sip of and I'm back drinking as much as I can get my hands on. And so there is definitely something to the addiction part of it.
Oh yeah, big time, especially soda pop. My daughter's been struggling with that and she stopped and now she's drinking water and she drinks lemon water, which is really refreshing, or even sparkling mineral water with a little lemon is a great way to kind of get off the pop. I was addicted to a liter of Dr. Pepper in college a day. I was studying pre-architecture and I'd stay up doing projects, and that was one of the hardest things to break because you got the sugar and the caffeine.
I knew you were related to me because Dr. Pepper is my flavor. I should say.
Actually, I'm not a big soda drinker, never have been, except when I was in high school. It was Dr. Pepper. My lunch was Dr. Pepper and peanut butter cups.
Oh, I remember those days. Well, and you know, now if you have a Dr. Pepper, like when we used to take the kids on vacation, the big thing was my husband would get some Dr. Peppers and some peanut M&Ms, and we'd one night have a treat. And we had fun with it, but that was it. Because I'm fortunately off pop, but that's a tough one. That's a real tough one to break yourself up.
And I've been off for even, like as much as a couple years at a time. I've been fighting this like really all my life.
Yeah.
And I will stay off for a very long period of time, and then it only takes one weak moment or one sip, and I am back on that crazy train of, and so I have learned, and this is one of the things that's one of the only things I will say, cold turkey is the only way I can do it. Like it has to be. I've been very vocal about telling how many days it's been, because I don't want to have to come to a Facebook Live or a conference or anything and have to say, well, I'm back on day one.
Accountability is big.
The whole world is my accountability partner at this point.
However, if you did, then you start over again and you show everyone that you're just going to go, maybe you fell off and you're back on, and you're going to do it again, because then you wouldn't want to say, okay, I'm just going to start drinking it because I quit at day 32 or whatever, but I don't know. I think every day is a celebration, and we celebrate with food. And it is my passion, because I struggled for so many years with it. To go to all these events with my husband and be calorie counting. I used to take an egg and cut it up with 6 pieces. I could have one for, that's nuts. It's totally nuts. Not to mention what it does to you, emotionally. I was emotionally a mess. And my husband didn't understand it. So if I can help people, eat your donut, have your Dr. Pepper, but drink maybe 3 glasses of water before. Like in my health coaching school, there was a story with one of the coaches. This guy wanted to get healthy. He had, 3 big fat donuts every morning. He was a taxi driver, and he had Coke, like several cans of Coke in the morning for breakfast. So he was really trying to wean this off, and he just could not. So she said, okay, how about instead of 3 cans of Coke, you have 2 and 1 8-ounce glass of water? And how about instead of the 3 big fat donuts, you have 2 big fat donuts? I forget what, maybe it was apple or something healthy. So slowly he got off that, because that's a biggie, those sugar and all that caffeine and stuff. But that's what I like to do, is if I can help you slowly and not beat yourself up. If you slip, so what? What can you do now? If I ate that ice cream or the cookies, can I drink more water? Can I go for a walk? How can I take care of and love myself? Maybe going for a walk instead of, mad at myself again. And, I don't want to hear that kind of language. No negative language, because that won't help, And if you're going to enjoy your pizza, just love it. Love that pizza, bless it, and then move on.
Yeah. Well, you have been like a phenomenal guest on here, and I know you were nervous about, doing this interview, but you have done a phenomenal job.
Phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
Anyone listening that is struggling with their health, and I will just tell you, I don't know hardly anyone in the entire world that doesn't want to make their health better.
Yeah.
Go follow my sweet friend Samantha, because she is doing things to help the entire universe, learn to crowd out. I love that, to crowd out those unhealthy things with healthy things. So thank you so much, Samantha.
Well, thank you, Kim and Connie. It's been a joy, and I really enjoyed this conference and what you guys are doing. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. You're just a delight.
Oh, and you guys too.
Well,
I'm Coni Meyers with Kick Butt Leadership.
And I'm Kim White with the My Sexy Business team, and all I can say is wow again.
Wow again.
I am so honored to be surrounded by so many amazing, beautiful people who truly serve and truly care, and like no judgment. That's one of my favorite things about my princess world, is it's a no judgment zone. We are where we are, and we're going to do better, starting right now. So we'll have our next session at noon Central Standard Time. Come and join us, and we'll be back for the Hope to Hope conference. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.